What's up, everybody? I'm Rick,
And I'm Anna.
and welcome to our review of the 2020 movie Nomadland. After being shown at several festivals and having a limited release in 2020, Nomadland had its wide release on February 19, 2021. Based on the 2017 nonfiction book Nomadland Surviving America in the 21st Century by Jessica Bruder, the movie tells the story of a woman in her 60s who, after losing everything, embarks on a journey throughout the American West, living as a van dwelling modern day nomad. Nomadland, Anna,
Yes.
it's the last movie of this year, the winner of Best Picture. What did you think of this movie?
I thought it was so beautiful as a movie, artistic, if you will, the shots that were made. I really liked it. And
What do you mean exactly artistic? Isn't most movies?
yes, but I feel like there are some movies that, you get the feeling, I get the feeling that are made with the art in mind. It's supposed to look a certain way. It gives off a certain feeling, with the shots, the colors. So I really got this vibe from it that it was made to look like a work of art would.
I think that this movie continues the trend that we've been seeing this year and the 2019 movies too, of showing you a situation, showing you, like, making you live through the situation of people that you might or might not know exist, but you might not be aware of their reality and this much detail, right? We've gone with the father through, Alzheimer or dementia, and we all know about the dementia, but the way it is lived by the people, right?
Right.
We did the same with Sound of Metal. Last year, Parasite was kind of a look into a certain class of people, right? And South Korea. And here we have these nomads and their lifestyle, which is something that has been talked about, right? More and more since the movie came out, but even before then, right? It's kind of a trend, the van lifestyle. But the movie really puts the emphasis on it and shows you, like, these people and what they're all about, which I think is very interesting.
And one thing that is very interesting is that the movie really emphasizes the idea that this situation that they find themselves in, these people, it's not always so, straightforward. There are a lot of things that come into play that push these people into this lifestyle.
It's not all rose and sunshine. Like, one day you wake up and you're like, I want to live in a van.
Or it's not even a kind of, oh, I don't give a damn anymore. Like, this life is terrible, I'm just gonna go and leave it on the road or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes, like, people are just like step by step, pushed into this lifestyle that even if they didn't choose, they do have to adapt to, and that's a lot of what we see, I think.
But even those that choose it, right, they do so for deep reasons that are their own, right? Everyone has different motive. I thought that was very interesting, and we can get more into what this movie means for the nomad lifestyle and the nomad people. I think there's some interesting elements that you might not be aware of. So all in all, I get from this that you enjoyed the movie.
I really did, yes.
Okay, we'll talk about whether or not this should have been the best picture or another movie when we get to our ranking in a few minutes. But before that, I wanted to talk about the background for the movie, right? We said in the synopsis at the beginning, this is based on a non-fiction book. So non-fiction, meaning it's based on some type of real, elements, right? Of course, the nomads are real, but also the company town of Empire, Nevada is a real place that was owned by the U.S. Gypsum, and in 2011, Gypsum closed the mine and the town with it, closed afterward, right? Workers and their family were allowed to live for 5 months in the company's residencies until they had to vacate, and then eventually the zip code for the town was removed because it's just a ghost town now.
Right. So can you visit it? It's still there, the town?
I mean, I'm sure they didn't just destroy all these houses.
That's interesting.
But that's how the movie starts, right? Where there's a little text at the beginning talking about how the town of Empire is closed, and you're like, that's something you don't hear often. Like, this town is gone.
Like a whole town just shuts down.
Yeah, it's no more. And then it brings you these questions of, like, what next? What happened to the people who were there, right? And this is the story of one of them, right? So that's quite interesting. The movie was directed by Chloe Zao, which is going to be the director of a Marvel movie. I find it very, like, interesting how different those are, right? The Eternal movie.
I think maybe she has good vision. I
Yeah.
think you could see that in this movie.
Yeah. It was also written, produced, of course, directed and edited by Chloe.
Oh wow! So she was like hands on everything on this movie.
One woman army, and for all her effort, she won Best Picture and Best Director at the Academy Award.
Yeah.
So she got rewarded, and she also became the first Chinese and only the second woman to win Best Director.
The second woman?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's been an issue. It's been an issue.
Yeah. Yes.
We talked about it with Greta Gerwig in 2019.
True.
It's a whole thing. Movie stars Frances McDormand as Fern. For her role in this movie, she won Best Actress, but also got the little statue for Best Picture because she's one of the producers too.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't notice that. I didn't remember it.
And so with that, she became the first person to win Academy Award as both producer and performer in the same film.
Oh, okay.
What did you think of her performance?
I loved her performance. I thought it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was so, convincing, obviously. I thought it was so heartfelt. There are times when, because, her character is not a character that is beaten down or anything like that. She, we mentioned in the beginning, she was more or less pushed into this lifestyle by circumstances, but she's accepted it completely. And she doesn't want to give it up for a half measure kind of thing. There is a situation in which she's offered the possibility of living in a house with twice actually, once with the family and once with a friend whom she met on the road. And it feels like every time she turns them down because she can feel it's not her place. Whereas, in her van on the road, she found a place that she can call home. And until she finds something else like that or better, she wouldn't just give it up.
I think she had an interesting line towards the beginning of the movie, right? I'm not homeless, I'm houseless.
Yes, exactly.
The van is her home.
Exactly. Yeah. It also speaks to her state of mind, right? She doesn't feel like a homeless person. She doesn't feel, because there's a certain feeling of hopelessness that comes with the idea of being homeless, whereas for her it's more no, this is my life and I'm taking charge of it as much as I can, and this is how I want to how I choose to continue to live.
Yeah. So the movie is pretty much Fern's story. We follow mostly her, and then there are some everybody else is kind of second fiddle, right? There to highlight her journey. One of these characters is Dave, played by David Strathairn. It's probably the secondary character we see the most along with her. So what did you think of him and his...
I thought in his case it was very interesting because we don't really get exactly how he got into
the
van lifestyle, or the nomad lifestyle, but eventually he does feel drawn back to his family. So I think it's a contrast to what Fern can't find, that feeling of belonging somewhere enough so that she would, live her life there or change her lifestyle.
And for him, it was kind of a chance at a renewal, right? Or at a second chance, literally, because he felt like he hadn't been a good dad, but now that his kid had a kid, so he's a grandfather, he felt like, oh, maybe I can do something better, right, with this grandkid of mine. And he was drawn to that. He went to visit, not with the idea of staying, but as soon as he got there, he thought like, oh, this is not so bad, right?
Right.
And he invites her to stay, like we talked about earlier, but that doesn't work out. So for the other characters, right, a number of real life nomad appear in the movie as fictionalized version of themselves, including Linda May, Swanky, and Bob Wells, and many other real life nomad throughout.
So they actually looked up people like nomad, like actual nomad people, and put them in the movie. I think that is so beautiful. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by this. I had no idea.
And what's funny about that too is that a lot of the co-stars, right, Friends co-star, like Swanky and Bob, had no idea she was a Hollywood star, right? She thought she was another nomad like them, right? And so,
So what did they think what the filming was for?
I mean, they knew it was a movie, but since a lot of
Okay.
them were nomads, right? They thought Friends was also a nomad, right? They didn't know she was a Hollywood star. And so Bob, there's that scene where he talks to her about, his son and all of that, right? And he has an emotional conversation with her, and she talks about her late husband. And then afterwards, he goes and talks to her privately, sort of be like, "Oh, it meant a lot that you would share that story with me, right?" And she was like, "No, it's fake. I'm an actress, right?"
Wow.
And that's when he discovered he didn't know actually.
That must be shocking though. That he actually believes it. It must tell you how good she actually is.
That he would believe it, yeah.
That he would think that this conversation is real. It must feel a little bit sad too though, because I mean his story was real,
Yeah.
right? Wow. And I was just gonna talk about that story too, about his story with the son.
Yeah.
Because I thought, after listening to his story, that this is again, opposite to Fern. It's someone who chose that lifestyle for, very deep personal reasons. To think that that's like someone's actual real story, that's so deep. Like,
yeah. And like I said, right, it's not that they didn't know they were in a movie. They thought she was one of them, right?
Exactly.
So it really showcases her talent as an actress and how believable she can be, and how well written the character was, that they would believe it's a real character. Right?
Yeah, it had to make sense,
Yeah. Bob's character, by the way, to me, 180. Because at first, when I think it was Swanky who introduced Fern to the whole idea, and she showed him the video on YouTube of this guy, and then he's in the desert. At first, I was like, "This is going to be some kind of weird sect, right?"
Oh my god! Yeah, I thought it's gonna turn like at least esoteric at some level.
Yeah. But then when they got there, no, they're just helping each other out.
Right.
They're just like it was really wholesome. It was nice. We talked already about some of the award the movie got. It was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, won 3 of them. Best Picture, it won.
It won Best Picture. Yeah.
Best Director, we talked about it earlier, Chloe Zao. Best Actress, Frances McDormand as Fern. Best Adapted Screenplay, Chloe Zhao, based on the book by Jessica Brother. Best Cinematography, Joshua James Richard. And Best Film Editing, Chloe Zhao. She was nominated...
She was nominated for a lot of the things that she did in this movie.
4 times there, so lots of nomination for her to win. Great haul, but was it deserving of Best Picture? We'll get there in a second, but before that, is there anything else you want to talk about that we haven't touched on?
Now, I mean, this is a very deep movie, but it's not that complex. It's a pretty straightforward story. It's very heartfelt story. But I think we like touch on everything that was of importance.
Would you recommend this movie?
I would definitely recommend this movie. There's a lot to learn from it. Yeah,
I would too. Like I said, the nomad lifestyle, it's been talked about more and more. So I was kind of, aware of it, but I didn't know like in such details what it was
to what
like.
extent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If only as a learning experience, I think it's a very interesting movie.
And now that I know that there's actual like real nomad people featured in the movie, like it feels even more realistic, and so you can learn about their lifestyle a lot more.
Yeah. So I've been teasing that the ranking. Let's get to the ranking. For every year of the Academy Award, we rank the movies that were nominated for Best Picture according to our liking, and so at the end of it, we get to see if our list or our top matches with what the Academy decided was the top of that year. Right now, we're ranking the movie from the 93rd Academy Award, the 2020 movies. And as of now, our current list is at number 7, Mank. Number 6, Sound of Metal. Number 5, Minari. Number 4, Promising Young Woman. Number 3, The Trial of the Chicago 7. Number 2, Judas and the Black Messiah. Number 1, The Father. Where would you put Nomadland?
Okay, so I have to say, I thought I knew where I would put it already, but then after the things that you told me about the movie, now I'm a little bit more conflicted. I completely understand why this movie won. You know, like it makes sense. I still think movie making wise, I don't know, that The Father was maybe better. So I put it at number 2.
Oh, at number 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Where would you put it?
I would put it at number 3.
At number 3?
Below Judas and the Black Messiah. So I think this year we had a lot of movies, right, that tip their toe into reality, or based on reality. And so, in all of them, there's something to be learned about. There's some elements of, teaching that the movie is trying to portray. In that case, I have to think about going away from it, right? After having seen the movie, what's left,
right,
for me, right, in terms of a teaching experience? Because again, I feel like all the movies this year were trying to teach you something. Maybe Mank a bit less, but
there was still a story to be like.
That's still based on reality, on a version of reality, right? And so, yeah, like I was saying, what's left to me afterward, right? How much have I learned? How much am I still thinking about the elements that they were trying to push onto me? And of course, The Father, like you said, I think on every level, right? Cinematography, editing, but also subject matter, right? Of just making you feel, if only for a little bit, like you were yourself, maybe going mad, right? Like, what's happening?
Exactly.
Am I losing my mind watching this movie? And so that's such a powerful.
Right, it makes you want to go back and want, like, did I miss something?
Yeah, but that's such a powerful feeling to be left with, right? To be like, wow, I don't have dementia, but if it's even slightly
like what I'm feeling right now after watching this movie,
yeah, it must be crazy, right? It must be really hard. Judas and the Black Messiah, of course, I think you just leave it and keep on thinking about it, right?
Yeah, it tells a very powerful story and of such great impact,
and it's of such relevance to, I mean, sure, when it happened, but today and the last 50 years in between, right?
Yeah.
In that sense, I'm gonna go with number 3.
I was actually, because I told you I was a little bit in doubt, so I was going between like 2 and 3. But the reason why I decided to go with number 2 is because you mentioned the overlapping with real life elements, with the real people who are like put into the movie.
That's a great move.
I thought, that's a great move. I also think it's very difficult to do that. Those are not trained actors. Those are not people who can, just like perform on camera. So like to know how to do it, how to work with them, how to integrate their stories into your movie so well that it feels like it was written into it. It's very good.
Yeah,
that's what it impressed me so much.
But they are used sparingly, right? This is really, Fern is the character that we follow most of the time,
right? But I mean, I was already wavering between 2 and 3, and I do agree that Judas and the Black Messiah is a movie of such great relevance. So I will go with your rating.
Okay, so it goes to number 3. So we once again do not, agree with the Academy that gave this Best Picture.
I really want to say it again. I understand why this.
Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. But it should have been The Father. So our final ranking for this year is at number 8, Mank; at number 7, Sound of Metal; at number 6, Minari; at number 5, Promising Young Woman; number 4, The Trial of the Chicago 7; number 3, Nomadland; number 2, Judas and the Black Messiah; and number 1, Best Picture in our heart, The Father. That's it. That's the list for this year.
What a great year.
It was a great year.
All the movies, like to the last one, were amazing. I would recommend them in a heartbeat.
Yeah, all of them were good. Yeah. And with that movie, we have now watched 115 movies of our goal. By the way, this review was part of our goal for us to watch every Best Picture nominee and winner from the Academy Award from 1927 to 2028. With this, it's now 115 movies watched, 13 years done, because we're now finished 2020. So we're getting there.
Yeah, we still have a long way to go. We're gonna be here for a few years.
yeah, but we're getting there slowly. If you want to do the goal with us and want to follow along, the next movie we'll be watching and reviewing is the 1940 movie All This and Heaven 2. So go watch that and be ready for the review. If you don't want to miss that review, though, you have to subscribe to this channel. Like this video if you did. Comment in the comment section below and tell us what you thought of the movie Nomadland. Should it have won Best Picture, or should it be another movie from this year? Maybe not even one that was nominated. Let us know, and have a nice day.
Bye bye.